How welcoming would you be to an ex-con who swindled the elderly out of life savings? Would you extend a house party invite to a former dogfighter? Are you willing to give a second chance to a date who has served time for stalking? Rehabilitation is not a personal redemption story. It is a relationship between the individual and society. Generally speaking, we are willing to be friends and neighbors with those who have committed nonviolent crimes, such as theft, vandalism, and drug possession, and some violent crimes such as battery and robbery, provided that an acceptable amount of time has passed. Bonus points if the crime was committed as a passionate youth, in the throes of addiction, the desperate struggle of poverty, or in the coercive pressure of gangs and abusive family. However, this gets contentious when it comes to murder. While it is true that murderers have the lowest recidivism rate of 2%, how many people want them in their friend groups, near their families, within their communities? We know that a perfect rate of 0 is not realistic, but can folks be blamed for not wanting to risk being the sacrificial 2%? My views aren't solely based on cold statistics. I admit to having pleasant conversations with felons when I was a correctional officer at a maximum security prison. I wish they took a different path for both their sake and that of the victims. I was a paralegal for my veteran friend who is a court-appointed counsel, and we wholeheartedly believe in the American right of a vigorous public defense. My chess coach gave me wonderful high school memories, but now they're bittersweet, as we, his former students, are left to wonder, where did it all go wrong? Why did he walk into a grocery store and shoot 2 people, killing 1? Even knowing what he did, if I were forced to choose, I would rather have my former teacher as my neighbor than a former classmate of mine, who has been sentenced to 60 years in federal prison for the production of child pornography, with her youngest victim being 8 months old. Sex crimes, especially against children, poisons any hope of reconciliation between these criminals and communities. This is why you might see a neighborhood dotted with small parks that have only 1 or 2 play sets, because sex offenders cannot live within 1,000 feet, oftentimes more, of any place where children may gather. So, if they cannot be rehabilitated, what should be done? I'm against the death penalty, which deserves its own separate video, and indefinite incarceration is still cost prohibitive. This leaves us with the American/Australian solution: penal colonies. For sex offenders who complete their sentence, offer them a choice. Attempt to rejoin society, which will always distrust them, or join a sex-segregated penal colony in the middle of the desert or remote taiga, far from women and children. In either case, a conversation on rehabilitation must recognize reality, that in the eyes of society, not everybody can be redeemed.